It just confirmed only subscribers can comment. So as I was going in, it confirmed that.
Okay, good.
We are notifying your viewers.
Yeah, I started my, oh, there it goes. Okay, we're right.
There's Dee. There's some people popping on. Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. So glad that y'all could join me this morning. I appreciate y'all being here. Hello, Devin, I see on here. Hi, Whitney. Hello. So good to see everyone. Hello, Jen. Hi, Ruth Ann. Good morning, Devin. Good morning. Hello. So good to see everyone here. Welcome, welcome. So this is, though I know that there will be people watching who, so every once in a while y'all might say, y'all might hear me bring forward someone. I'll be like, okay, they're not on here. Because people can, only subscribers can comment, but good morning, Roberta. I'm so glad you joined me. Only subscribers can comment, so that's what you'll be seeing on here. So are you ready to do this? Y'all ready to get into this Thursday morning? I know, it's like I have back to back, so today I'm doing a lot of healings today, actually. I think my whole day is kind of weird because I will have days where I do nothing but soul plans, or days where I do nothing but healings or mediumship. So it's kind of, tomorrow is a mixed day. Tomorrow, I love those days because tomorrow I start out with a relationship soul plan. Then I have a soul plan. Then I have a mediumship reading, and then I have a hypnotherapy appointment. I love those days where I'm kind of bouncing all over and I get to really do some of all that I love. It's very cool. I really like it. So I do want to show, do I have it out? There is no, I think I filed it away. So something that's very interesting I do, which I've been getting more and more of them, so you can tell people are getting interesting, is a relationship soul plan. I just did one. Oh, there it is. And so I knew I hadn't filed it away yet because it's an ordeal to file it, so I have a thing. So this is what a relationship soul plan looks like. I'm going to cover up the name so y'all can't see those. So it's where you compare the energetic vibration of people's names. I was making sure that it didn't have anyone's names. That's just who it was by. So this was very cool because this lady came to me and she could feel the energetic connection between her and this other person, which if you look at their numbers, like if y'all don't know this, but let's just say, I'm going to rattle it. They both have something called a 9-9, but they both have 15 sixes, they both have 10 ones. And then the guy had a 22-4, which is there's two numbers in this system that tells me you're an old soul. So that was one of them. So yes, if they were both residing in the upper levels of those energy, it would be a good match. But the second I ran this chart, I was like, oh my goodness, if this gentleman did not have a really good childhood, then it's not going to be really a good plan. And it's happened this one, and I instantly knew that he had not had a good childhood. So when you have these energies, when you come into energies, it's like everyone has negative things about their personality. No one comes here and gets a free ride to Earth. So if you're in a house that your family focuses on the positivity in you and helps you bring that out, you're going to naturally gravitate towards your positive energies. But if you had a family that just focused on your negativity, that is what is going to follow you into childhood unless you do the trauma work and really process that information. And so that's why they were not getting along well. Yes, energetically they're a great match, but there's different spectrums of energy. What are you going to reside in? Are you going to reside in the negativity of it or the positivity? And then about a month ago, I had someone sent me the same thing, and oh my goodness, the guy she was seeing, his chart was so high vibrational, like so ethereal, and he had very soft energy, which, if you have a great childhood, good. But if you are a gentleman with soft energy and you're raised in one of those households where you're not allowed to really process your emotions, where you're not allowed to show that soft side of you because men have to be men, then it's not going to go well. But this gentleman happened to come from an excellent childhood, and he was just a beautiful, beautiful soul. So those soul plans, that's what I was just talking about. Soul plans, they're a lot of fun to kind of see how those energies reside. All right. I want to thank everyone who is liking my live and sharing it. I appreciate you. Y'all ready to do some? Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all ready to do some reading? Get this show on the road. Okay. The first gentleman stepping up here, I heard the name Bob. And at first I kind of joked with him because I thought, Bob? That's probably because my husband, you know, my dear sweet moderator, that he's always teasing everyone, like everything's Bob. One of my grandkids will ask him, Papa, what's the name of that? Bob? It's Bob. And so at first I thought this guy was joking, but no, I'm hearing the name Bob or Robert, of course. This gentleman is letting me know he always had a cough. I'm not saying that led to his passing, but he always had a cough. And he always had a handkerchief in his pocket. Remember the days when gentlemen would carry handkerchiefs, except he carried it in his pants pocket. So he had a handkerchief. He always had a cough. He's also showing me, so I would say this is probably a grandfather energy because he just feels like he's from a completely different generation. And he had a job. It was like construction or something like that. He's just showing me he was always in his truck. And when I asked him where he was going, he shows me being in a lumber yard and at hardware stores. So this gentleman, and he is more of not calling himself a construction worker, which I would. He is calling himself a jack of all trades and a master of none. So y'all know how I talk about when spirits give me information, it is not just about what they give me, it's how they give it to me. So the fact that this gentleman said, I was like, oh, you're a construction worker. He said, no, I was a jack of all trades, but a master of none. It tells me that he was funny and he did not take himself too seriously. Okay. So let me recap it, and if he belongs to someone on here, please say a yes. If no one claims him, I will go ahead and give a quick message from him because there are people who can view this live who are not subscribers. Okay, so we have a grandpa energy. I'm hearing the name Robert or Bob around him. I said a construction worker. He said he was a jack of all trades and a master of none. And how I got to that is he was showing me driving around in an old truck and he was driving to the lumber yard. He shows me driving to a hardware store. He also had his window rolled down all the time with his arm out. And he did that so much, like this arm was a little bit even darker than this one. So, but that's probably not something, if he was your grandfather, you would have even noticed. He is also showing me that he had a cough, like he frequently had something in his throat, and you could probably hear me. He was making that happen to me. And he always had a handkerchief in his pocket. Does this gentleman fit anyone on here? Do you see anyone claiming him?
No.
I want to thank everyone again who's liking and sharing my live. I so appreciate y'all. Okay. I'm going to say one last piece of information about this gentleman, and then we are going to move on to my moderator choosing someone. So heads up, Dee. Make sure you have someone chosen. Okay. He's also given me a Carolina reference, like North or South Carolina. I'm just hearing the Carolina, or Georgia. He was from that area over there. He is showing me that his wife is still on planet, though she is not on this live. He's making that clear. His wife is still on planet, and she's not doing well, that she has memory problems, and she's been talking about him visiting her. And he wants whoever is around her to know that he is actually visiting her. He is absolutely visiting her. He's also showing me that he was buried, and his wife will be buried beside him, and he will be waiting for her when she crosses. And he's also talking about, there has been talk in the family that everyone knows that grandma has limited time left on this plane, and that people are talking about it's kind of the passing of a generation is what he is saying. Like that everyone from that generation has pretty much crossed over except for his wife, a grandmother energy to whoever is watching this. And she's the last one, and people are kind of sad that that whole generation will have gone. He's also talking about, real quick, and then he's going to go, that he is so proud of the generations left behind, specifically his lineage, that they have turned into just beautifully integrity run people. And there is a lot of them who are so much about integrity. It's not that they don't care about money. Everyone likes money. But some of us, like me, will never sell their soul to the devil for money. I have a blessed, I understand I'm blessed to make that choice because, I live in a country that I'm just never going to go hungry. But I know that some people can't make that choice, so there's no judgment. All right. And one last thing, he was saying that recently someone in the family has visited his grave. And as they were walking up to his grave, and then he showed me the headstone, there was a bird sitting on this headstone. And then as this person got closer to the grave, the bird flew off. The grandfather's taking responsibility for that bird. All right, who we got, Dee?
Michelle, Maybelle, Grandma Doris.
Michelle, Grandma Doris. All right, so now for those of you who are just joining, have never seen me read before, I will describe the spirit. Let's see, can Michelle go live? Let's see, can you go live, Michelle? Let me click on her. Oh, she had just said, I was about to say, can she go live? And she was saying she could go live. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
I want to call you Shell. Do people call you Shell?
Yeah.
I just felt the need to call you Shell. Okay, so now your grandma Doris is who you're looking for, right?
Yes.
Okay, the first thing I get, do you remember your grandma Doris making Christmas candy, specifically fudge and divinity?
I don't remember. No.
Okay, give me something else, Grandma. Someone in your family has some of her jewelry.
Yes.
It's not worth a lot of money, but it.
Yep. Yeah.
Is someone confirming that to you?
No, I just, when she passed, there was a jewelry box that was left with lots of just little, like you said, nothing worth of value, just little jewelry things here and there. I do remember that.
Yes. Give me something else, Grandma. She is showing me, I'm not honestly sure if she's doing crosswords or word searches. Do you remember her doing something like that? She would do crosswords or word searches?
No.
Okay. So for those of y'all watching, whenever I am bringing through information and people are saying, I don't know if y'all heard and this is not just for you, Michelle, sorry, I'm talking to the whole, when I said, do you remember? Because I could tell this grandmother was like, when is Michelle going to remember? So I could tell she was giving me some things and she wasn't sure if Michelle was going to remember them. Though y'all could probably tell from the energy in which I said, someone has some jewelry. She was absolutely positive about that. And you could probably tell in the way I said it. What she's also showing me, Michelle, is she liked her TV. Do you remember her TV always being on? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I was telling y'all that, I also said to the grandma, I said, you've already defined yourself a little bit. Yes, Michelle has confirmed that she has some of the jewelry. Just give me something else that she's absolutely going to remember. And I just felt myself wanting to stare at a TV. And the TV was loud, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
I was like, that is very loud. All right, Michelle, your grandmother is very much talking about there has been some turbulence in the family. Do you know what she's referencing?
Yes.
Very good. And this for everyone else watching, once we talk a spirit, define evidence, and we tell who the spirit is, the evidence says, yes, Michelle said, yes, that's my grandmother. The spirit will always, when I do readings, further confirm who they are by the information they give. Just like us, there's turbulence in the family. And this grandmother is referencing that if she were still alive, she'd be knocking some heads, is what she's saying.
Oh my God, that's this phrase she would say all the time. I'm knocking heads. So
again, for everyone watching, it's not a mistake. I said those words. Spirits will give me exact words that they used to say, again, for further confirmation of who they are.
And also for the two, I'm not included in the turbulence, but the two that we're talking about, that's what grandma would tell them all the time when they were younger, because they're cousins, so they're kind of the same age. And that's one thing that Grandma said, I'm going to knock your heads together if you don't knock it off.
Right. And those, I know they're grown. I was about to say those kids. I know they're grown people now. She is showing me there's always been friction between them. And there's just like this love-hate relationship, not necessarily hate, but do you know that they've always kind of argued and butted heads?
The two that have,
Yeah.
no, that one, that doesn't really resonate. They're cousins and they were always close.
Okay, so who in your family are related? Because she's showing me these two people who have a deep, abiding love for each other, but they're frequently butting heads and not seeing eye to eye. It's not enough that it's causing the relationship to break. Is it some of her kids? Is it maybe an aunt and an uncle or something that you have?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to
give me
think
more
on that
information.
one.
Okay, so for everyone watching, when y'all, whether it's on a live or whether you come to me one-on-one, especially when you come to me one-on-one, because we can dig into it deeper. I just say, okay, Grandma, give me more information. What are we talking about here? She's showing me two men. She's showing me two males. Are there two males in your family who just, they love each other, but they just live completely different lifestyles and completely different lives, and it causes them to not see eye to eye? Does she have two sons?
No, she had one son.
Okay,
It could
then
be, it
go ahead.
could be the issue that I'm thinking of is with my my sister and her husband. And then my cousin, who was a male. So my cousin and sister and husband always got along, always are friends. But then recently there's been turbulence with the husband and the cousin, which caused a whole uproar.
Okay, very good. Very good. I'll absolutely take that because I knew it was two men. I knew it was close, that they had been close, but
Yeah.
And the reason I was asking this is because I asked why, what happened. And so for anyone who is watching this who doesn't believe in what I'm about to say, just please let it go. I'm not here to change someone's spirituality. But at a deeper level, these two people brought this from another lifetime. These people, these two males, were siblings in another lifetime, where there was a lot of friction and there was a lot of competition between the two of them, and they really loved each other, but one of them was older and one of them was always getting the best of everything, which caused the other one to have a little bit of animosity, which now has carried over into this lifetime. They tried to be close, and they do have this deep affection for each other, but it's just like, I feel like it was something really silly that got out of control.
Yes, it was.
And it was because of this underlying past life bitterness that was brought over into this life. And I feel like it's the cousin who was the bitter one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Because when she was assigning the roles to me, as your grandmother is telling me this story, and she's showing me who was the one who was always trying to placate and make things better, and then who was the bitter one, she was assigning she gave your cousin the role of being kind of bitter.
Yeah.
And so your grandmother in this situation is very much wanting your sister to know to not let this affect her marriage. Like, her loyalty is to her husband.
Yes. Yep.
And so I don't know if your sister has been struggling with that. Sometimes we aren't struggling, but it's just nice to hear someone confirm what we're doing. And your grandmother is very much like, no, don't let this ruin your marriage. If you have to set up boundaries, it's very sad, but that's just what you have to do.
Yeah. And that's what happened. She did not let it get in the way of her marriage.
Very good. I didn't feel like it did, but a lot of times we just like the confirmation.
Right.
We just want confirmation to come through. Now, Michelle, you work?
Yes.
Have you been feeling a little like, she shows me, have you been having a lot of things dumped on you at work, but not an upgrade in pay?
Um, yes and no. I would be due for a raise very soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, but you have been having added responsibilities, correct?
No, no, I haven't. I've actually just recently asked for more responsibilities,
Okay,
because
I will
I,
take that
yeah,
also.
yeah.
I'm seeing more responsibility coming your way.
Okay,
I
yeah, yeah.
assumed it had been given to you, but you're saying you asked for it.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
didn't have
good.
enough work to do, so I was like, I can
Okay.
help out with some other stuff if you guys need.
That is going to allow you to really shine.
Hmm.
Like the fact that your grandmother is showing me that you stepped up and was asking. And I see there's someone in your company who is really overwhelmed, but they have a hard time giving things up because in the past it's kind of burned them. They didn't have anyone that helped them that did a good job. Do you know who your grandmother's referencing? Is
Uh,
there someone in your company who know that just has a lot going on and they're just busy, 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 working, working, working all the time?
yeah.
If you could get something from that person, that would be great. Because that person, once you prove yourself to them, they will sing your praises from the rooftop. I don't see this very often in people, but that person has not had people help them properly in the past. Like, when they've had people help them, they haven't met deadlines or they haven't done a good job. So now they just want to hold on to everything because they're afraid. But if someone can get that person's trust, that person is going to sing their praises from the rooftop, and your grandmother is saying, and Michelle is just the person to do that.
Oh, good.
So if you can get that person to give you just a little project or help them out here and there, I'm seeing them like grudgingly giving you a little something to do, and then you do it, and then they give you a little bit more. So I think it's a relationship that will be built. But they're going to sing your praises from the rooftop once you earn their trust. And I do see your pay increasing. Like, I know you said you're up for a raise, which, yeah, I acknowledge that, but then I see you getting another raise later in the year.
Okay. And my job is I do medical billing, and we're all split up into teams, and I just recently got a new team leader. So I'm put under somebody new now. So that could be what you're getting with me trying to have to not necessarily prove to her of
Mm-hmm.
how, what I can do, but yeah, I mean, that's the one that I asked for more work, and she did just give me just a little something to do.
Okay,
And
very good. So
yeah.
I'm glad that you can confirm some of what your grandmother said. Yeah, but as you prove it to her, she's just going to give you more and more and more. Um, are there more than one? Like, there's more than just your team, right? There's other
Oh
team
yeah.
leads.
Yes. Like I have upper management too. I have like my team leader, then there's the management for all of our teams, then there's, the big managers.
I can see you moving into a team lead position.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Is that going to be in a year? Less than a year? 14 months? It's going to be a little over a year. I'm seeing it.
Okay.
But I think that this person who is your current team lead, I'm actually feeling pretty good about them. And they will support you. Sometimes you'll do all this work for people and then they don't want to really support you and help you up because they don't want to lose a good worker.
Right.
And that is not this lady at all. Well, thank you, Michelle, for going live with me today.
Yes, thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. All right, that was what you would call a textbook reading. So the spirit proved who they were up front. They continued to prove who they were with their message. They referenced things that were going on, which is a sign they are around. I don't let spirit step up and say, hey, tell them I'm around. They have to prove it. She did that very well by talking about this family history. She even told why these two people were arguing, because I'm getting the feeling no one could really figure out, because they're like, this is silly. What's this about? And then she confirmed her granddaughter was sticking by her husband. And then she even gave a message for the lady, for Michelle, who was on here. So textbook reading. I appreciate that grandmother stepping up. All right. We are going to do a quick spirit led. I'm sorry, there was a young man stepping up. I was like, do I want to read you? And he says, of course you do. Okay, I don't know what my hesitation is with you, dude, but he's saying because whoever is watching this is really going to have to think outside the box to prove who they are. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I knew that he was going to be hard to prove. So let's listen up and get going with this. He is showing me that he passed in his 20s. This boy was a partier. He's saying he was a grown man. He is a boy. He had not gotten his crap together enough to call him a man. Yes, he worked, but he was partying even into his 20s. I mean, like he was a teenager. Maybe because I did all my partying when I was a teenager. Maybe I'm saying that. Maybe you 20-year-olds do party like this. I don't know. My girls, I think because I have old soul daughters, and so my daughters tend to party like for a few years into their 20s, and they're like, yeah, we're done with that. He is saying that he is showing me he always had a cap on backwards. Now, when he didn't have a cap on, he was a very good looking kid. He was very stocky. He liked to do all things outdoors. I mean, he is showing me four-wheeling, specifically mud, like riding in the mud. He's showing me bonfires, like all those outdoor things. Now, when he's showing me this bonfire specifically, he's dropped this in several times. And he's showing me, I never did this. I mean, I like to have a good time, but even when I was out of control and young and partying, there were some things I wouldn't do. I would not funnel alcohol. And this guy is showing me funneling alcohol. Just always seemed too dangerous to me. All right. So does this fit anyone? I see someone on here, Nikki, saying it might be Tanner. But he was in his 30s, but everything else adds up. Okay, very good. Let's see if I'm going to ask you to go live, Miss, is it Nikki?
Yeah.
All right, Nikki, I'm going to ask you to go live. I love that TikTok has lowered that number of people being able to go live. I just really love it. Hi, Nikki.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So was he like 32?
I am not sure the exact age, but he was in his early 30s.
Okay, very good. Very good. I'll take it. Because as you're saying, I could get that. I was having a tough time with his age because he has such, like, I could tell he was older than he was acting.
He had his young
And
spirit for sure.
yes. And then when you said he was in his 30s, I turned to him and I said, give it to me old quick. And I heard 32. So I was just wondering if that was accurate. But
I was literally just in my kitchen where I have his ashes when you started. Oh, I don't need to
so
start already. So
sure you do. So it is not unusual whenever someone's on a live, or even if they come to me one-on-one appointment and they will not have thought of someone for a while, and then all of a sudden this person drops in their head and I start reading them. That is spirit saying, heads up, I'm coming.
Oh.
So who was Tanner to you?
He was my husband's best friend growing up and like a big brother to me.
Okay. He is also showing me that he never really, I mean, yes, I'm hearing he had a job and he worked and had work ethic and
Yes.
all that, but he never really did all those grown-up things. He was still such a fly by the
He,
seat of his pants.
yes, he was a huge partier. And as we started getting a little older, he just like literally started cleaning up his life.
Yes, and it took him a long time
Very
to
long
do.
time.
Mhm. Hi, Marilyn. He's also telling me, has your husband like been complaining about back problems?
Yes, he was literally just talking to me about his back bothering him this morning.
Okay, very good. Now, for those of you watching, this spirit did it two ways. For one thing, he's about to give me some information about his back. And then it's a sign that he's around. Because Nikki said, my husband was just talking to me about his back hurting. I don't let spirit step up and say, tell them I'm around. It's too general. They have to prove it. So he did it by referencing a conversation you just had with your husband. He is talking about that your husband has not been kind to his body, which, a lot of us aren't until
hmm
we have to be.
Yes.
And he needs to really start paying attention to how he lifts things. And he also needs to go to a chiropractor. And I hear that your husband is not a fan of chiropractors. Is that so?
He's not a fan of going to a doctor in general. He just started going to the doctor. They put him on blood pressure medication. He did talk about maybe he should start. He's not a big doctor person though, but he does. He's had a lot of back problems. But also, I wonder if that could deal with the type of cancer that Tanner had because it went into his spine.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I just had a side conversation because I don't know if you've been following me for a while, if you're new to me, Nikki. But I also have stage 4 cancer that went to my spine.
Oh, I'm
So
so sorry.
as you said that, I was honestly, and I will be very honest. I don't control readings. I let spirit give me what they give me. But this kid was young, or this young, he was young to be in spirit. So I kept trying to get from him how he passed. And there was a block. He wasn't telling me. So the second you said Tanner had cancer on his spine, I turned to him and he's like, damn it, I didn't want that to come out. Just because, and this says so much about his personality. I say all the time how spirits give me information or what they don't give me. He was very compassionate and kind for all of his partying ways.
Yes.
Because he was trying to protect me from that. The fact that he's in spirit, he died with this cancer on his spine, which is horrifically painful if anyone's ever had a tumor on their spine. And he was trying to protect me from that. So that says so much about who he was.
He was a phenomenal person. He would get the shirt off of his back to help
Yes.
anyone.
And it's all about what spirits give me, how they give it, or what they don't give me.
Mhm.
So he is now he's trying to make me feel better, which my cancer is doing well, just for everyone watching, since I went to Kazakhstan last year. And I appreciate everyone who gave my fundraiser to make that happen because it was crazy expensive. My cancer has not spread. It's actually started shrinking, and I have scans next month, which Tanner is saying, like he's doing this when I said that,
Aw.
which is just a sign for they're going to go well. Okay, so now back to your reading. He is wanting your husband to just take better care of himself and his body, and it makes sense now. And so now I'm going to go ahead with what I was not going to say, but now that Tanner's kind of pushing me in that direction, your husband has some unprocessed trauma from his childhood. Are you aware of that?
Is it, and yes, we've both had very bad traumas in our life. His was his dad's. Mine was my dad's, but he didn't get to say goodbye to his dad.
Right. And you have processed yours better. And your husband, like a lot of men, has just held it in and held it in and held it in. And the more we hold trauma in, the more it starts creating a dis-ease in our body. And so, yes, your husband does need to go to the chiropractor, but also if he wanted to do some kind of trauma work, that would be great. Hypnotherapy is great. My husband actually does. Anytime a man comes to me for hypnotherapy, yes, I will do hypnotherapy on men. I typically divert them to my husband just because he is like that root of a man's man. And so men
Yeah,
typically relate to him better. So if
very
he's
true.
interested in that, hypnotherapy is great because men don't have to talk.
Yeah. See, my husband, he gets very quiet.
Yes.
And
And they get in their head, and men don't really like
yes.
to ruminate about their problems. That's why hypnotherapy is so great. But for your husband's back, yes, go to, I'm hearing also watch the quality of his food, which doesn't mean the amount, just means the quality. Go to a chiropractor and do some trauma work for him.
He's always going to look out for him, that's for sure. He always called him like his brother from another mother. So,
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki.
oh no, thank you so much. And I'm sending you so much prayers and so much love.
Thank you. I will take it all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, very good. So now that is something for those of you watching. I have an intro to mediumship class coming up in the beginning of February. We talk a lot about that. Ask Dee, she can vouch for. I really talk about how is spirit giving you that information? What aren't they saying? So it's really not just about the information you get from spirit, but how do you get it? How are you communicating that? Because it means just as much as the actual information that you're getting. All right, let's do some. You're very welcome, Nikki. Let's do, you know what? I don't typically do this, but for whatever reason, I looked up here. I was about to do spirit led, and this spirit said, that one, that one. I was like, what the heck? And they're pointing to Amber. So I'm going to ask Amber to go live. Miss Amber. Let's see. I have to record
Hi.
that tune. Hi, Amber. How are you?
Good, thank you. How about yourself?
Good. Where are you located?
I am located in Southern California.
Oh,
Lucky
gonna
me.
I'm going to be out in California in, when am I going there? Like March 8th or so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, going to do some hands-on healing work.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's the word has gotten out when people are willing to fly you somewhere to do
Oh,
some hands-on
definitely.
healing. All right. So now this lady stepped up. She was very sweet, but she had a force behind her because I kid you, I was about to do spirit led, and I turned. This lady's like, that one,
I
and
know
she's leaning
exactly who
over,
you're talking about.
so cute, and she's about to say, touch this. She's saying little girl. I know you're not a little girl,
Yes.
but she's calling you a little girl. Is this your grandmother energy?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember your grandmother, her hand kind of shaking towards the end of her life?
Yes.
Okay. Because how she just made me want to touch your hair. Like I just feel the need to touch your hair and kiss your head. But she showed me as she was leaning forward to touch her hair, her hand was kind of shaking some. Also, she is showing me before she started having this shaking and like these hands issues, she was really into all the crafting things like knitting and sewing and all of that. Do you remember her doing that?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Then my grandma wasn't like crafting and sewing, but my Aunt Suzanne was.
Okay. Okay, so let me write this down, Aunt Suzanne. Now, but it was your grandmother who was shaking, right?
Both of them. They both had, my grandmother had a stroke,
Mm-hmm.
and so it paralyzed her one whole side of her body, so it did make it hard for her to use
Mm-hmm.
her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't remember her knitting a whole lot, but my aunt Suzanne, who has passed, um, who was a lot older, she loved to knit. She'd make things for myself and my kids.
Okay, very good. So now I'm going to tell this for Amber and people watching. So this is exactly what happens. Okay, so we thought we had Amber's grandma. So we start, going down that road, and then the spirit gave me something else, and Amber is like, "Oh, wait a minute." So that's what happens. If you're on the wrong track with a spirit doesn't care. They're not offended. They just throw some other information in there that gets you back on track.
Yeah.
So what she did is she gave me more information about knitting, and Amber's like, "Oh yeah, no, that's my Aunt Suzanne," but she does
Yeah.
feel like a grandmother energy because she was older.
Yeah, and she has grandkids of her own as well, so that's exactly why she could feel like a grandmother as well.
Very good. Now, spirits are multidimensional. They can be around many people at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember your Aunt Suzanne? Are there rumors in the family about her being nosy and wanting to know everything that was going on?
Yes, and my grandma too. So I don't know, is it possible that you have both of them there? Because they're
It
both
is
so
very much
similar.
possible.
Okay.
It is very much possible. So now, we would have delved into this now that Amber had just opened this can of worms. Like in a one-on-one reading, I would have done this like from the get-go, but we're on a live. I was trying to move it along. I knew that I had two spirits. I was just trying to separate them and grab
Right.
one so that it wasn't taking so long because we're on a live. But yes, so your grandmother is showing me that she also was kind of bent over some. Like now that I have them separated, your aunt is showing me shaking more. Your
Yeah,
grandmother is showing me kind of being bent over
that
more.
is accurate.
hmm So that does happen frequently for people that are watching. I knew it had happened. I was just trying to not delve into it because, like I said, we're on the live and I was trying to move it along. And
Sorry.
no, your grandmother and aunt are just kind of teasing me about it. They're like, yeah. So they're very much laughing about the fact that I know I can't control because I say it all the time. I don't try to control spirits. I can't. I don't want to. And so your grandmother is saying, you know, you can't control us. Just being, she's teasing. Being
Yeah,
fun.
that's definitely her personality to do something like that.
Also, now when I looked at them, I'm not sure who gave it to me, but you know those little strawberry candies that we
Oh,
have.
that's my grandma.
I felt like her. She
Yeah.
showed me those
She used to
candies.
have those in a jar at her house.
And they would get stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had those in 100 years. I don't even know
Yeah,
if they
same
still.
here.
I don't even know if they still make them. Um, Amber, your grandmother now is more talking about to start following your spiritual path more. Have you noticed that like spiritual things have just been dropping in? You find it very intriguing nowadays, but you're afraid to go down that path or you don't have time. You just make all these excuses of how not to pursue the spiritual path. Do you know what you
Yes,
mean?
since I was a kid, I've had a lot of situations that have led me to believe that I have the ability to do that. Um,
Yes.
Actually, just last year, it really started coming to a head, and it scared me. So I like closed my eyes and I told Spirit, like, okay, don't come bother me, because it was always right at bedtime. And
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
all right, my bedroom is off limits. You cannot come visit me in here. And ever since then, um, it hasn't happened as frequently,
Mhm.
but I would love to be able to open it back up again and tap into it so I can help others like you are.
Well, I would first like to say thank you. I'm so glad you took control of that. Like you
Mhm.
didn't just be scared and shut it down. You put
Yeah.
boundaries up. And, you know, I have a class starting in the beginning of February. I don't know if you've heard me talking about it. It's intro to mediumship. We talk a lot about that, putting up boundaries, like I say, I don't control spirits. I don't control the readings, but I do control when they
Right.
can access me, how they access me, and all of those things because it's free will. This is my avatar body and my spirit. They
Right.
cannot come in on it. So that's an acknowledgement again that
Mhm.
first she's around you and for you to still pursue that. If you're interested, I have that class
Yes,
starting
I
at the beginning
actually
of
am.
February.
So I will definitely be reaching out.
It's if anyone, and not just Amber, but anyone watching, it's on my website under classes, Christy Godwin Psychic Medium, and then you go to classes, and that's how you register. It's held via Zoom, so if you can't make one, I record it and you can watch it later. She's also talking about to start paying attention, Amber, to your claircognizance. Claircognizance is connected to your crown chakra,
Mhm.
and you just know things. And
Mhm.
sometimes when you just know things, which rightly so, it's difficult. You're like, how do I know this?
Yeah.
And you start second guessing yourself, and your
Yes.
grandmother's like, tell her to stop doing that. Now, your aunt on here
Hmm.
is talking about a dog she has in spirit. It's a little brown. It's a brown dog, but it looks kind of like a Yorkie type thing. It's a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, it was a dog that we had in my late teens, early 20s. That was my parents. So there's two of them, Price and Sailor. They passed away about a year ago.
Okay, very good. She's referencing the doggies, and she said, I just want them to know I have them, and there had been some concerns if they were together and if they had found people. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you had talked about if they had found family members or if they had found each other, but she's
Yes.
acknowledging
Oh,
both
that's wonderful.
affirmative to both of those. Well, thank you, Amber, for letting
Yes,
me
thank you
read.
so much. I appreciate it.
Sure, have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, very good. What time is it? Oh, all right. Let's answer a couple of psychic questions, and then I'm going to have to go because I have a reading at 11. So I just have a few minutes. All right, so y'all, we just have a few minutes for your psychic questions. I want everyone to pop them in the chats, and remember, I will never direct message you. If you want to book an appointment with me, only on my website, Christy Godwin Psychic Medium. All right, Alyssa, are you ready for this, Dee? Alyssa wants to know, will I get this house? What are you getting? No, Dee got to know too. I got to know.
I gotta know.
Oh, Jen said yes. Dee got to know, and I got to know. What I'm hearing is that not this house, but you're going to get one that fits you better. And I know that you can't see that right now because, when you get fixated on something you want, you just say, I want this one. In Spirit, I hear Spirit very clearly saying, I have something better in store for you. Okay. Emily wants to know, will I move this year? Is Emily going to move this year? So in 2024, is Emily moving? Where do you get?
September.
You're getting September? Let's see if someone else is answering. Jen is saying yes. Okay, Dee also got this year. She got September. And Jen is saying yes. I'm not convinced, but if it is not this year, it's going to be early next year. So when I follow the energy, and we talk about this again in Intro to Mediumship, I follow the energy, and I was like, okay, I feel how it hits my body. Is she going to move this year? I'm getting a like, I was like, okay, well, show me. And they fly me through a calendar towards the end of the year, and that's where the energy is kind of stuck in there. So it's going to be, which would make sense if Dee's saying around September and towards the end of the year. Okay, Holly wants to know, and Holly, do not decorate any nurseries on what we say. Holly wants to know, am I having a little boy this pregnancy? Holly wants to know, is she having a little boy this pregnancy? You're welcome, eCoastal. What are you getting, Dee? Is she having a little boy?
I can't pick up either one on that one.
Dee can't pick up either one. And I think this is where Dee, a little bit, so I'm going to call her out, is letting her ego get involved, because I think that she is reading that person who wants a little boy, but I'm seeing a little girl. And so now, Dee, when I say, is she having a little girl, you feel... Yeah. So we talk more. We talk again and meet. So if you're not getting it, like I knew when Dee said, because I was focusing little boy, and Dee's like, I'm not getting anything. So she's not getting a little boy. So then when I said, are you getting a little girl? I could see her smile. She's like, oh yeah. Like it was started feeling it. Yeah, I'm feeling that. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for this subscription only live. I appreciate y'all. I will be live. Gosh, I'm not next Tuesday. Usually I'm live on Tuesday mornings for a general live, but I have a doctor's appointment, so I will not be live on Tuesday. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but I will be live again. Like this weekend, I'll pop on or something, but I will be live at some point. Just follow me so you get notified. All right. I hope everyone has a great Thursday.